Right. One of the most important thing about Angular is this slide. Yeah, I repeat the last sentence which I was telling. Client-side JavaScript development is simplified. Client-side JavaScript development is simplified with many JavaScript libraries, please. Lot of JavaScript libraries that we use today, they simplify our JavaScript program. Otherwise, today nobody would have used JavaScript so much actually. Earlier days we used to have 100 HTML lines and 5 JavaScript lines. That's how we started writing JavaScript actually. But today if you see, 99 lines we write JavaScript and maybe 1 or 2 lines of HTML. So that's the demand for JavaScript that we have today in web development actually, alright. So when you talk about you know, Angular, jQuery and you know, at least I don't know, you know, Backbone, Knockout.js, Ember.js, all these are almost similar. They all are JavaScript libraries only, which make your client-side JavaScript programming more rich, please. Okay. Now, among all these, how is Angular different? Maybe all our focus is on Angular. Okay. So each point of mine is very, very valuable. This slide is the main content of today's session, all of you. Okay. So what is Angular? Angular is a front-end JavaScript framework for creating web applications. Everybody, please get this. The rest of the discussions or sessions will go smooth if you know this. Angular is a front-end JavaScript framework for creating web applications. Most of the JavaScript support that we got, let's say in the form of jQuery, we always called them as JavaScript libraries. But when I talk about AngularJS, we call it as a framework. Angular team has called AngularJS as a framework rather than you know, just a library. Now what is the difference between a framework and library? In simple terms is, it's more vast. When I talk about framework, it includes libraries and also it includes a runtime. A runtime to run your application, please. Alright. So a front-end JavaScript framework for creating web application. Now let me just quickly show you, because you missed, some of the attendees have missed the screen which I was showing. So I hope, yeah, now you all can see a white screen, blank screen. Yeah, see, I was just trying to show this, a client, server, everybody. I have a server and here I have my program. Here I have my program, any program. Okay, I program it using Angular. So I am using an AngularJS library here. Okay, and write all my code. I am using AngularJS and writing my program. Now when I make a request, everybody catch this, when I request to server, all my program along with this AngularJS is going to come to the client. So what's in the client actually is, you know, I have now HTML, I have JavaScript and I have Angular. So JavaScript, Angular are one now. So, and as part of the client, all the presentation will be handled by HTML. And all the programming which I have done with Angular, it's going to run here. So recall my sentence. I said Angular is, everybody, Angular is a front-end JS framework. So Angular runs in the browser, please. It runs in the browser. and it gets loaded from server and it runs in the browser. Got it? So every day till we do this complete series or complete this course, whatever coding we will be doing, it's all going to run like this. Okay, so please remember this diagram, so that when we are discussing any questions and all, or when you pose questions, then I will be able to answer, and you will understand like what answer I am giving based on this architecture, please. Okay, right. So all those who are new, this is very, very important for you, as this is an introductory session, level 100. All those who are new, this is the most basic thing you should know. Okay, moving forward, AngularJS is an open source framework which is maintained by Google, and Angular provides you all the support from Google. I mean to say, whatever Google team has built AngularJS, now that is what is given to us. Now if you talk about Angular 2, there is a lot of Microsoft contribution also in Angular 2, because a lot of Angular 2 is built by Microsoft JavaScript framework called TypeScript, please. So we will also talk about TypeScript. We will also do some demos with TypeScript, because Angular version 2.0 is lot used by TypeScript only, please. With TypeScript we use Angular 2, which makes our coding more and more easier. Now, one of the rich feature of AngularJS over other libraries, I said, if you compare jQuery and Angular, or if you compare Ember and Angular, what is that you will be missing is Angular supports MVC pattern style of development. Means all Angular coding, whatever we are going to do, it recommends us to write coding by following a design pattern called MVC, Model View Controller Pattern. So using MVC pattern, whatever we are building today, web applications are very successful using MVC pattern. Okay, so with MVC we are going to develop our programs in a more controlled method and in a more reusable method, and with a separation of concerns, please. As we do some basics of Angular, starting 2-3 sessions, then we will go to more deeper, where we will see Angular implementation of MVC. So MVC stands for Model View Controller, and the whole idea is separation of concerns. Any program that we are writing, divide that program into 3 parts, that is model, view and controller. Angular provides you one step ahead, or I don't know, I should say one step ahead or one step different actually. AngularJS not only restricts user to write the code in MVC pattern, okay? Write the code in MVC pattern, okay? It really provides us a good feature of using model, view and followed by any other functionality, please. It's not like you have to use controller only to do all your programming. You can really use something else, model, view, whatever pattern. It's not MVC, it's model, view, whatever pattern. So this I can say is one of the customized environment of AngularJS. You can use anything, like Angular has directives, Angular has filters, Angular has modules. So model, view, directive I can use. We will see that, okay? This is just a beginning where I am telling you that so many things are there for us. So building a program without a pattern it's a blind walk, you know. You don't know like how successful you will be. But building a program with a pattern is going to be definitely a successful one. All right. So MVC is the pattern which, you know, your Angular is going to provide us. Okay. And we will see as we go on how to write that programs in MVC style. That's really very good, you know. JavaScript in MVC pattern. Now probably you might have seen struts in Java or MVC in ASP.NET and all, but this is JavaScript coding in model view controller style, please. JavaScript coding in model view controller style. So that's really good, right? Then moving to next point, handles common and often trying tasks. Yeah, that's true. Such as DOM manipulation, updating UI based on data or input, or you know, and registering callbacks. Yeah, this is really a good thing again. Handles common, you know, DOM, document object model manipulation, completely updating UI based on input or by registering callbacks. So AngularJS is going to, you know, make you work with all these, which are the most common requirements in the client side. What is the biggest thing we want is, we want to do all this programming in the client side. We want DOM manipulation effectively. When you can manipulate all your HTML elements comfortably, then you can do all your application whatever you want in the client side. Because all HTML content whatever we are going to use will be completely based on document object model access only. Means if I create an element called text box, now if I want to access that text box from JavaScript or Angular, I need to follow document object model, which is a specification to access our environment. Okay. So Angular gives you a full-fledged DOM manipulation and a full-fledged control of user input for input as well as output, and maybe little advanced is for callbacks, registering callbacks. So callbacks is nothing but you do asynchronous programming, please. You do asynchronous programming. Next. So let me just come back from the first point. Front-end JavaScript framework for creating web apps, open source, maintained by Google, and every JavaScript program will be based on MVC pattern, please. And Angular gives you a more comfort of MV whatever, that is MV star pattern, and it gives you very rich support for handling DOM manipulation, then updating UI based on data or input, and registering callbacks. Now the most attractive advantage of Angular is declarative programming. Okay, the biggest advantage of Angular is declarative programming approach. What is declarative programming approach? You know, where you will be writing all your code in the form of instructions but not in the form of logics. Everybody, maybe it will take a couple of more sessions for you to get good idea about declarative programming. We have imperative programming and we have declarative programming. So imperative programming is nothing but where you need to tell what is the task you want and how to do that task also. Probably you have to write code how to achieve that task also, please. Alright, how to achieve that task also is our functionality, is our code. That is where jQuery, JavaScript, manually when we are writing, we will be doing everything. Okay. Now, when I come to declarative programming, you will never tell, how to do. Okay. Most of the demos when I am doing Angular, a lot of people ask me, how is this happening actually? Once they see the result, they always ask me, how is this happening? Like how this got executed, how this result came. That's what they wonder actually. Then slowly they get habituated to writing code in that style. So this is one big advantage. Skill really doesn't matter a lot. You don't need a lot of skill to do your work. All right. You can really develop your app by just writing instructions, get rich outputs as the result. Okay. A simple example is something like I have a text box. I want to display the value of that text box. Then I might simply write, I can simply tell Angular, just show me that text box value. I need not search a text box and then pick a value. See, in a declarative approach and in a non-declarative approach, how we will do. In a non-declarative approach, if there is a text box, you want value from that, you have to search that text box and then retrieve value from that text box, and you have to print that value. But in declarative approach, you will create a text box and just tell, hey, this is the text box value which you want to show, where you want to show. Then automatically as user types, it will start showing all that. So I think maybe I cannot tell you a lot of great advantages of declarative programming now, but when we are doing coding, definitely you will realize that how Angular is very, very rich in declarative programming, please. Very rich in declarative programming. Alright. So again I repeat, when I say declarative programming, please remember that whatever coding I am writing, all that coding will not involve with huge logics and not involved with searching elements and then presenting data. In declarative model, you will be just telling your framework only to perform all the process. Your framework only, like your AngularJS only. You will tell AngularJS, show this text box value in a label, then automatically Angular will show that text box in a label. Alright. So that's a small AngularJS points which I want to introduce you to. Okay. Just give me more time. As we go on, we will see more deeper into all these points, please. As I told you, as we go on, we will see more deeper. Now, what are the prerequisites to do Angular? What are the prerequisites to do Angular? So don't be scared with the list which I am showing you, but let me suggest to you like what all you must know in order to do Angular. Okay. Here is the prerequisites list, please. So in this basic overview session, I just want to tell you like HTML, JavaScript, CSS is the prerequisite, please. If you are really not comfortable with HTML, JavaScript, maybe a couple of sessions we will have on HTML, JavaScript fundamentals also, please. Okay, if you can, if you want, you can also just view those JavaScript basics session and get yourself comfortable with, okay, why HTML, why JavaScript and CSS. So you are expected to have a basic knowledge of HTML, JavaScript, CSS and Ajax, single page applications, APIs. Now this I am going to tell you as part of our Angular development only. We will be discussing as part of Angular development. But a lot of people who are doing Angular, they always ask like what all things I must know and I must do as part of my Angular development. So please remember, this is a list which will really tell you how you need to build your all Angular, please. Okay, so we will be doing all our demos with Angular 1.5 and in the end we will be doing Angular 2, Satish, if you have a doubt. Okay, right. So regarding the recordings and the PPTs, I will talk at the end once I disconnect the online one. All right. So when I come to the prerequisites, as I told you, HTML, JavaScript, CSS are the prerequisites from your side, and what are the list that you can keep is Ajax, single page applications and APIs. All right. Apart from this, all of you, what is really a good list? Maybe I don't want to put this in prerequisites, but that's the only place where I can show you. Please see here. Apart from this, here you can see single page application, test driven development, behavior driven development, DevOps, CDN and cloud. Maybe by the time I end my this session, I will be able to tell you all these also. Means maybe not completely like building the app, building Angular not with DevOps like that, but I will be telling you like what DevOps is, what TDD we will do, single page app we will do, CDN we will understand, we'll learn all this. So maybe prerequisites I can say, or by the time you start doing Angular and by the time you come to end, if you can have this complete list in your mind, then you can really build Angular apps the best way, please. Okay, so I repeat, all of you from your side, what are expected is HTML, JavaScript, CSS. All right, and then Ajax, SPA, APIs, SPA, TDD, BDD, DevOps. I'm going to tell as I'm parallelly running my application. What is the current AngularJS framework that we have is one of the questions that is asked. The current stable version of AngularJS is 1.5, all of you. 1.5 is the most widely used AngularJS framework today, and Angular 2 is now with RC2, which is just a release candidate 2, maybe released almost 15 days now. So we are still waiting for the final release of Angular 2, please. All right. So I will give you some reference sites and all that as we go on, how you can build your content, please. Okay. All right. So maybe whatever the basic thing I wanted to tell you is that about web application development and about Angular. Maybe I could talk very less about Angular, but as we go on, we will talk more about AngularJS. Okay. So today's session of mine was just to get you into this AngularJS course or AngularJS online series, okay, where what was my projection is web application development means client side, server side, and client side rich development is required, and in client side rich development is required with JavaScript, and JavaScript is complex to build and complex to use. That's why we require JavaScript libraries, and in JavaScript libraries we have so many today. In that so many list of JavaScript libraries, one is AngularJS, and AngularJS is today widely used than any other library, and AngularJS is more rich in many ways, and I was just trying to show you a small list of AngularJS advantage. One of the important point that I could share with you is Angular gives us declarative model of programming. Yeah, you will enjoy the AngularJS learning as well as development, okay, wherein you will be seeing a lot of things with what where you only instruct but not write deep logics and do your things. When we are doing our programs, we will try to see them, please. All right. Then one more important thing which I was discussing is how the data will be loaded from your server to client. How Angular gets loaded in the client, and then how it is going to get executed. Okay. So maybe when we do our first demo also, we will try to understand more in that. Then a small prerequisites list I shared you, out of which I said HTML, JS, CSS is from your side, and Ajax, all the rest of the things I'm going to share with you. Okay. Okay. So somebody is asking like how many Angular 1.5 we will do and Angular 2. Like are you more interested to do Angular 2 or what, Satish? You don't want to do Angular 1.5? So how I will be talking in this series is I will be doing most of the sessions with 1.5, and wherever 1.5 enhancements have come, I will be telling you in Angular 2, and I will be showing you. But particularly Angular 2 library using and doing, we will be using with once we learn 1.5 we will do that too. Probably last sessions and some in between we will be doing 2, but not complete on 2, because 2 is still RC only, please. All right. And maybe we will have only 2 sessions separately as Angular final release is going to come, because today it's still, there's so many issues in Angular which are still to be resolved in 2.0. And I will be using Visual Studio as my IDE, and I will also be showing you how to work with Sublime or Notepad Plus and all that. All right. So that was a very outline overview, please. Maybe we will see all these more deeper as we go on to the next session of Angular release. Okay. So hope I could give a very little idea, but I told you, when we meet in the next session, we will see more deep dive talk on AngularJS and its advantages. Okay. Thank you all for today.